Hello, good afternoon. Thank you all for your patience, and I'm sure you've witnessed the intrepid efforts of our supporting and operations team here at Poetry Festival Singapore today. I wanted to extend a very warm welcome to all of you to the National Poetry Competition Primary Winners Recital, organized as part of the 10th edition of Poetry Festival Singapore. So I'm sure many of you here are here to support finalists or award winners that you know. What you can expect for this afternoon's proceedings. You'll be able to hear the winning entries from the Super Junior category of the 2024 National Poetry Competition. With poems inspired by the theme Unbound, these young writers offer their perspectives on what the sensation of being unbound means to them. So Unbound is the theme of Poetry Festival Singapore this year. I realized I should also introduce myself. My name is Jonathan Chan. I am a writer and editor, active primarily in poetry, essays, and literary criticism, which is a multisyllabic word for book reviews. So very happy to welcome all of you here today. So I would like to introduce our guest of honor for today's event, Gui Lee Sui. Please give him a round of applause. So allow me to introduce Gui before I invite him up to, deliver some remarks that will hopefully be interesting, inspiring, fun for all of our finalists today. Gui Lee Sui is a poet, a graphic artist, and a literary critic. His works of verse include Who Wants to Buy a Book of Poems, published 1998, 1001 Nights, 2014, The Other Merlion and Friends, 2015, Haikuku, 2017, and Death Wish, 2017. He wrote Singapore's first full-length graphic novel in English, Myth of the Stone, published 1993, which has since been re-released in an expanded 20th anniversary edition by Epigram Books. He recently released a Singlish translation of Antoine de Saint-Exupéry's The Little Prince, translated in Singlish into The Little Tunku, published 2019. Gui received his doctorate from Queen Mary University of London for his study of Newtonian influence in the poetry of the long 18th century. A familiar name in Singapore's literary scene, he has written and lectured on a range of cultural subjects. He edited Sharing Borders, Studies in Contemporary Singaporean Malaysian Literature No. 2, published 2009, Telltale, 11 Stories, published 2010, and Man Born Free, Writings on the Human Spirit from Singapore, published 2011. He's also the author of Fear No Poetry, An Essential Guide to Close Reading, published 2014. Please extend a warm welcome to Gui, who will be delivering some opening remarks.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Poetry Festival Singapore, for inviting me to this session today. And I'm really very happy to be in the midst, especially among the Super Junior poets. Congratulations to all participants, not just the winners, because I think you have started on a very interesting journey in your life. I am Gui Lee Sui. I consider myself primarily a poet, even though I've gone into other things, writing all sorts of funny stuff, including Singlish translations of late. The most recent one you may know is of actually Winnie the Pooh, just last year. There's a fun one this year. I will not review it yet, but every year we try to come up with something interesting in order to raise the language of Singlish, into something higher. And I think such a task can only be done by a poet. Because a poet is sensitive to language and what you can be done with language. So you have a very powerful task ahead of you as a starting poet, as someone who is only beginning to explore the possibilities in language, in poetry. I'd like to simply ask today a simple question to you, since you have begun on this journey. Why write poetry? Why even begin to do something like this, which probably will not get you a lot of readers, unlike prose, but will help you find something precious for the living for the rest of your life. But what is it? Why poetry? I think fundamentally for most of us, it is because we have something to say. And this something to say can't be put into mere prose, because this thing also wants to be recognized as beautiful and not just having a message. How do you know that when you write, you have something to say? That is the question sometimes we find ourselves asking when we do poetry. How do we know what I'm writing is about something? Well, because if you have something to say, it will eat at you. It will go after you. It will not let you off until you put that thing, that meaning on paper, and it exists on paper as a beautiful thing. I can't stress this enough, because the thing exists because it has found relevance in bringing meaning and newness into the world. The poetry, the poems that you write may not be read by many people. It may not be read by a lot of people or few people. Sometimes, and that's true for quite a lot of poems that I write, they're not read by anyone else but myself. But some poems, they want to be read by many people. How do you know what kind of poems you have produced? Well, my advice, even though this time you have written your poems for a competition, but in your own free time, when the poem calls, first write the poem. And then, after writing, listen to the poem. Because the poem will tell you what to do, who it is for. You write a poem in order to know what to do with the poem. Don't decide what your poem is for before you write it. Write it, and then you decide what the meaning of the poem needs you to do. Now, this decision is central, and I like to share this with you because it has also been part of my decision, my growth as a writer. The decision on what to do with your poem will decide what kind of person you will be. It will also decide what kind of poet you will be. Because it helps you decide what your poem means in this world. How will you help your poem live on, survive? Will it survive in your drawer? Will it survive as did some of my poems just among my friends, some of whom are not poets or interested in poets even? Or are they meant for a larger group of readers? How will you, in that sense, bring your poem into the world? The decision will decide what that poem means to you. And if you have a lot of poems, what your poetry means to you. It will decide whether you will change the life of what you write, or you will change yourself so that what you write will have meaning. Your poetry starts you on a journey by becoming a light in the journey with words. What is your relationship with words? What is your relationship with silence? What is your relationship with beautiful things that can only exist first in your head? Once you make this decision, they will make you understand what your role is in the world. It is not for you to hurry this journey. For a lot of us, it will take time. For a lot of us, we don't begin thinking that we are poets. I did not, for a long time, embrace that title of a poet. I did not dare, because I know it's a big calling. But at some point, I started calling myself poet, even when I'm writing other things, because I realized what words mean to me and what the beauty in words mean to me. It is a very personal journey. I hope you find that for yourself. And I'm very excited for all of you because you are discovering this perhaps for the first time now, and with the encouragement you need from fellow poets. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gui, for those thoughtful and hopefully inspiring comments for all of our poets here today. I should mention, thinking of Gui's other English translations, we've got Peter Labbit, translation of Peter Rabbit, and Winnie Dapu. So the poetic vocation, writing poetry can bring you to many places you might not expect. But again, thank you very much, Gui. Next, I would like to introduce our judge representative, Shilpa Dixit Tapiel, who will be delivering some comments on all of your poems today. So Shilpa is a former computer professional turned bilingual poet from Singapore, and she is the author of 2 poetry collections. She is also a Best of the Net and Pushcart Prize nominee, and was awarded 2nd place in the Letter Review Prize for Poetry in 2022. Her poems can be found in Prata Journal, QLRS, To Let the Light In, the Letter Review, the Best Asian Poetry 2021, the Yearbook of Indian Poetry in English, and elsewhere. Some of her poems have been translated into Japanese, Chinese art, and Spanish. Shilpa is a writer and literary organizer who serves on the steering committee of Poetry Festival Singapore. She was also on the panel of judges for the National Poetry Competition, as she is representing them today. And she is also judged for the Write and Burn Spoken Word Competition and the National Poetry Recitation Competition. Let's please welcome Shilpa, who will be delivering this year's comments.
Thank you, Jonathan, for the very kind introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to the participants, the finalists, and their parents. It is an honor, completely my honor, to be here with such young voices who are so interested and passionate about poetry. And as judges, we feel very happy that we are conducting competitions like that for this very reason, because we can see that there are voices here which need the nurturing and which need the encouragement. So very quickly, I'm not going to take much time. I just want to tell you all what were the criteria on which we actually do the judging. So we received about 44 entries in your sub-junior category. And we had to come up with a short list of only 10, and it's pretty difficult. But the poems were all very mature, very pleasantly surprised by the responses we received to the theme Unbound. Each of you all wrote such very nice responses, so creative. Everyone had a very different response to it. And we were like, as judges, going through the poems and like, wow, that's such young people, you're like such young children, to get that response was so nice, yeah. And like with all years, but we have a rubric against which we mark. So that helps us in the judging process. So we have the form, the language, originality as in how original is your poem, or how you treat that topic as your own, how you can own your own poem, yeah? And then there is truth to it, yeah? So that you avoid cliches, you avoid idioms, you avoid preaching, yeah? And then there is a sensitivity to it. So sensitivity to the world outside, as a person, as a young student, how aware you are. We don't expect much, but we are always surprised by how well you are aware of what is going on around you. And therefore, we had entries which they give fresh perspective to the topics of, new way to look at the old. So we kind of like had poems which were on hope and crossing barriers. There were poems that had dreams, poems that were sensitive to the world around us and spoke against war and for peace. And so it's very heartening to see the young minds, that have broad visions, and are able to think in such a mature way. And those poems obviously are very, very strong voices. And we want to congratulate all of you all here. Each of you all, as I said, are winners. And congratulations to the parents, the teachers. Big congratulations to them as well for nurturing these voices of Singapore. And please keep writing, whether you do it as a pastime, as a passion, or on the side. But please nurture this part of you, because it is not so much for the outside, but more for you as you grow up in this world. Yeah? And we thank you so much for your voice. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Shilpa. So it's a lot of words from us, words from the grown-ups. Now it's time for words from our finalists, be it inviting to read one by one. So when I call you up, please come over and share your poem with us at this mic stand. So let's welcome the winners of the English Super Junior category, beginning with our merit awardees. Our first merit awardee is Jyotiraj Kavyashri. Kavya is currently a secondary 2 student studying at Jurong West Secondary School. She is an imaginative student who has taken to poetry because it is a fun avenue to experiment with words. She is particularly interested in writing heartfelt poems with a twist. Her hobbies are reading and writing. She also likes extracurricular activities such as sports and is an active person. So please join me in welcoming Jyotiraj Kavyashri, whose poem is titled Echoes of the Heart.
Hello everyone, I'm Kavya and this is my poem. Before I start this poem, I would like to say a few things about it. There is dreams etched inside these walls. Yeah. The title of my poem is Echoes of the Heart. Choked in the sifting air, strangling my soul, teetering on the edge of existence, trapped in an endless cycle of bias, feigning strength, masquerading as fine, yet inwardly I'm unraveling. Once a blooming garden, now parched and desolate. A lone flower in my realm, armored and ready to defend. Yearning to vanish, ensnared in an algorithm where envy and malice thrive. Poisoned by deceitful facades, struggling to stay adrift. As the world crumbles around me, I greet my armored fate with a smile, veiling my emotions so they won't eclipse yours. May I pause for a breath? What are these confines? Please, I'm desperate for air. Imprisoned within this glided cage, perhaps it's time to shatter it. What's the dire consequence? If I'm already wearied within, why not let it manifest without? Thank you.
Thank you, Kavya, for that lovely poem. I think, the image of the flower in the garden, very beautiful, but also toward the end, that real feeling of being entrapped. So our next awardee is Yi Cheng-woo. This is his first time joining this poetry competition, and though he is not hoping to be the best and receive first place or any awards, he is just thankful that his school literature teacher, Ms. Cheryl Lim, gave him a chance to participate in the competition this year. So we thank Ms. Cheryl Lim as well for encouraging Cheng-woo. He is excited for the opportunity to challenge himself, receive feedback, and hopefully inspire others through his poetry. Maybe one day he may fall in love in poetry through competitions like this. Reading his poem, Laughing at the Wind, let's welcome Yi Cheng-woo. Is Cheng-woo here? Well, maybe he's in the bathroom. Well, in that case, we will honor Cheng-woo's work anyway. Hopefully, we'll have the chance to encounter it in another forum. But, again, maybe we can just, give him a clap to congratulate him on this achievement. So moving on, we'd now like to invite Darshan Montani to read. Darshan, you ready? So Darshan is a P6 student. He enjoys reading and writing and goes ice skating in his free time. He'll be reading a poem for us titled Metamorphosis. So come on up, Darshan.
Hi, I'm Darshan. Thank you for having me here. So my poem is called Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis. It starts off as an egg, as small as a peg. Though, in the batch, it's the only one that will hatch. As a caterpillar it walks, hungrily roaming the stalks. The forest being its bound, a suitable place is found. Inside a cocoon lying, it daydreams of flying. After metamorphosis, emerges the butterfly. To its cocoon, it says its final goodbye. From the branch it springs. The butterfly flaps its mighty wings. Previously confined near the ground, it is now free, finally unbound.
Thank you, Darshan. A real poetic exploration of maybe a process that many of us are familiar with, how a caterpillar transforms into a beautiful butterfly. Our next awardees are Claire Goh and Zoe Mun. So Claire is 12 years old, turning 13 this December. She loves music and writing poems. Music inspires her, and she enjoys expressing herself through poetry as well. Zoe Mun loves potatoes and chicken. Sorry, potatoes and chickens. So very, very poetic subjects. So together they have written a poem titled Wisteria Tree. I'd like to invite the two of them up to share their poem with us now. Welcome, Claire and Zoe.
Hi, I'm Zoe.
And I'm Claire.
Our poem is called Wisteria Tree, and it's about an alien and a human. Upon the wisteria tree, purple skin and feathery leaves, I grasp hope that's drifting from me. Cold embers trail in wake, feet trudging across the grime. Hooded faces dawned in the night, my world is gone and strained from light. Hidden in crowds, I am never under the spotlight. Hanging from the wisteria tree, it's just a disease, their love for me in the breeze. Shunned by society, family with no piety. A monster, a demon, savage, never human. I hid under my mask, hoping that it never lasts. Trapped in the wisteria tree, stinging wounds and words, brutal bruises that will always hurt, and reality that I wish away, boundaries that I can't escape, broken body, shattered heart. I long for my freedom, I long for my liberty. Sitting on the wisteria tree, my heart frozen from all the grief. Time flew by, I was closer to relief. Head turned from this worthless world, darkened corner for none to see. I bided my time, wishing away this blight. I opened my eyes to take flight. I shall make them see, because you have abandoned me. Under the wisteria tree, I see two dainty feet swinging in the breeze. I see a flash of violet blending in the leaves. Our eyes meet, a reflection of myself, of purple and black, of change and liberty. My hope shines with incandescence, even in the plaguing pressure I braved. Now red blossoms splattered color, a flower for the lady, a laugh lost to the wind, a smile that reignited his eyes. The lost time made up for a single cry, A hand cradling violet eyes, rekindled warmth and love. The wisteria tree hangs blissfully. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Claire and Zoe. Very vivid presentation of the wisteria tree. Lots of great rhymes and sounds, a lot of alliteration in there as well. So before we move on to our next group of readers, we would like to invite Claire, Zoe, Darshan, and Kavya to take a photo with our guest of honor, Gui Sui, and maybe our festival director, if you'd like to join the photo as well. Eric, would you like to join the photo as well? The Merit Award winners, please. So the four of you, please come up. Kavya, you're in the photo too. And guest of honor, Gui. What did that do? Okay, terrific. We're moving on to our next set of readers and winners. So our next readers are our special mention awardees. Our first special mention awardee is Olivia Seng. Olivia is a Sec 1 student from Nanyang Girls High who likes trying her hand at poetry styles and forms. She's interested in learning more about writing in general and would love to get to know more fellow teenage writers who she is among right now. So please welcome Olivia. She'll be reading a poem titled Strings.
Hello, I am Olivia Singh. The poem I'll be reading is titled Strings. Unbound, like the music in the air, heart is trapped in deep despair. Dreams wandering like soulless beings, a pure marionette entrapped in strings. When the strings slowly entwine, movements and emotions are confined. Limbs caught in a tangled maze, trapped in motion, a silent craze. But in the darkness, dreams take flight, breaking through the strings with might, unbound from preconceptions with pure grit, pulling away from the repeating skit. As I enjoyed this silent freedom, savoring a feeling of soulless boredom, where strings are torn and music broken, from the trance I have awoken. Dancing aimlessly with no beat, where the dance seems incomplete, but in the silence a hope shines, a chance to mend those broken rhymes. Gently picking up the strings, plucking them as I quietly sing, my voice uncertain, but my heart sure, the music resonates, strong and pure. In the melody's embrace, in music's rays, free from constraints in the light of the day, notes like whispers, soft but clear, guided my dance, dispelling fear. Thank you.
Terrific. Well done, Olivia. Thank you for sharing your poem with us. Our next awardee is Lara Pala Krishnan Locke. Growing up in New York City and Singapore, 11-year-old Lara draws inspiration from both the Western and Eastern worlds in her writing. I relate because I also grew up between New York and Singapore. Lara loves exploring, cycling, netball, music, her little sister Sage, and her pet poodle, whose name is Brooklyn, very New York. Her poem that she'll be sharing with us today is a poem called The Fisherman's Song. Please welcome Lara.
Hello, I'm Lara, and today I'm going to be sharing my poem called The Fisherman's Song. Dawn rises over the Kelong, silhouetted against the sky. bare-chested in a sarong, I wake up with a sigh. Another day, another mile, the world has passed me by. Self-imposed exile, invisible, I cannot deny. Shaved with a rusty razor, slicked back my greasy hair, handsome face of a sailor, now weathered by despair. Hungry mouths to feed, the monthly rent is due. Loan sharks come to bleed for their pound of flesh or two. A spiral of hard living worked my fingers to the bone. Ocean foam so inviting, let me be alone. In my hands, my rod and reel. In my red pail, worm bait for a meal. It is time to set sail. On blue waves afloat, diesel fumes fill the air. Southern fish in my boat, I have no care. A seabird sings a song of the sea. Salt in my hair, I whistle along. Unbound, I am free. Thank you.
Well done, Lara. Really wonderful, vivid poem. And sometimes we forget that Singapore is an island or a collection of many islands. And as an island nation, of course, we have many fishermen in our midst. So thank you for that reminder. Our next awardee in this category is Vaishnavi Hariharan. Vaishnavi is a 13-year-old student at Raffles Girls' School Secondary and is an avid reader. She spends her free time writing prose and poetry as well as playing basketball. She aspires to share her passion for literature and writing with others through her work and is committed to achieving this goal. And she'll be sharing a poem with us titled Caged Compassion. Let's welcome her.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to Poetry Festival Singapore for providing me with this wonderful opportunity. My name is Vaishnavi, and this is my poem, Caged Compassion. Gazing upon the clear blue sky, the myriads of colors flood my eyes, flying and chirping. Yet, here I am, confined to a cage, watching my friends dancing. I pondered, why couldn't I spread my wings and fly by their side? Why am I restricted, bound behind bars, spectating the unprecedented wide-eyed? What is it that I lack that keeps me from soaring among the clouds? Why does the person who put me in this cage doesn't allow me to be among the crowds? Every day, he comes, cleans, feeds, leaves. I try to get his attention, peck, flap, screech, to no avail. Yet, something shines in his azure blue eyes during his visits. Warmth fills me, it resonates with me, yet I cannot interpret that feeling. I put on a new pair of goggles. I could see. He was in a bigger cage than I was. The world. Thank you.
And thank you, Vaishnavi, for that poem, that exploration of how a bird might feel in a cage. So can we now welcome back all of our special mention awardees, Olivia, Lara, and Vaishnavi, for a photo with our guest of honor as well. Our guest of honor is Dr. Gui. And is Eric here? Okay, wait, well, all right. Please find a spot. We will now be moving on to our top 3 winners. In third place, we have Jolin Teo, a Peihuan interested in literature. She was motivated by her older sister to start writing. With a poem titled Surrealism, let's welcome Jolin.
I really please come to me. Headed and down, crawling toward heaven, too bright after getting used to the moon. My eyes are seared by a screaming scarlet so loud, eating away at my soul. She, not me, is bound to exile. My rage motor is out of control. I exhale and stare at the mirror and realize, like me, they will fall apart. Thank you.
Thank you, Jolyn. A very well projected, powerful poem, and very representative of different ways in which we can perform poetry. So moving on, in second place, we have Yao Jia Xu. He's 13 years old this year, and this is his first time writing a poem, so hopefully he'll be encouraged to write many, many more. He usually enjoys reading and writing, cooking and baking, as well as debating. His favorite sports are basketball and football. And let's welcome Yao Jia to share his poem with us, titled Unbound.
Hello, everybody. I'm Yao Jia from Anglo Chinese School Independent, and today I'll be sharing my poem with you. Okay. In twilight's woven dreams, where shadows flee, a spirit dances wild and free. Amidst the storm, where tempests roar, beneath the stains of sorrow's shore. In fields where whispers carry pain, and sands where dreams dissolve like rain. Scars of ancient conflicts lie, as shattered hopes beneath the sky. For homes once warm, now cold and lost, where wandering souls bear heavy cost. Consumers buy war, nations set war, newspaper and television broadcast war. Our histories are at war, our geographies are at war. From Kashmir to Palestine, childhood is bombed by war. We read war, we write war, we see war, we talk war, we feel war, we breathe war, and yet we don't hear war. You ugly beast, you bother of a breath, you hush of a terror, liberty to no father, country of mine with no lips to speak, yet still say your life matters not. Black not nearly good enough here, but you who fashion snoozes and makes us wear it like it's our birthright. Nation of abuse, border to no freedom street, in silent cries of night they grasp, for fleeting light a desperate clasp, amidst the ruins whispers speak. Of courage found in hearts though weak. I am the darker brother, bound by chains yet spirit sore, unbound, unbroken evermore. In faces marked by trials deep, their dreams like stars a night's embrace, inspiring all with silent grace, to break the chains and seek their place. I am the fearless soldier. Within their struggle, embers glow of hope that fights against the flow. Though paths are rough, horizons far, together we become the star. Let voices rise in quiet refrain, unbound by fear, untouched by pain. Together boundless we shall soar, unbound, united forevermore. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yao Jia. Very, very powerful and very powerful poem, very attentive to a lot of what our world is engaging with today. Now, in first place, we have Vivian Zhang. So, while Vivian claims to like both poetry and prose equally, as someone who has an attention span comparable to a fish, she prefers poetry more, though sometimes the challenge with poetry is that it requires more attention as we read the same poem over and over again. She believes that poetry is beautiful and can convey complex and interesting emotions and ideas in words. Reading her or performing her poem, The New Age, let's welcome Vivian.
They say that we are bound, that we are stuck to our skins, confined by the cages in our chest, condemned to the same rigid rhythms, forced to keep up appearances. They say that we are bound, made to know our place, our futures already found. Destiny is set, no need to fret, conform to the norm. We should all be happy for the masks bound to our faces. Yet, somewhere far away, the mask starts to crack. People start to question, is this really me? Is this really how I want to live? The young dove quivers. The nestlings peek beyond the nest. The wanderer faces his radiant abyss, and with the wings of a dove, sets himself free. Once bound spirits, now with wild abandon, race through the wanderous night. What was once a strange, foreign feeling now feels like hurtling down the highway, dancing in the rain, and feeling the wind scream in your ears as the roller coaster wagon dips. Voices rise in jubilant flight, in unbound symphonies delight. No chains of doubt can hold us tight as we chase after the night. Untethered souls with hearts aflame, we write our stories, we play our game. Under starry gaze, new wings unfurl, carrying the unbound to a better world.
Terrific. Thank you, Vivian, for a really spirited performance. And again, I'd like to welcome our top 3 winners, Zhou, Yaojia, and Vivian, up for a photo with our guest of honor. So that concludes our Anglophone, our English language segment. And to bring us to a close today, we'd like to welcome our one poet in Chinese. So we'd like to, well, 2 poets in Chinese, and one of them will be reading for us today. So in 3rd place for the Chinese Language Super Junior Awardees, we have Lin Lin from Nanyang Girls High School. Lin Lin is a Year 2 student. She enjoys playing sports in her free time, with badminton and basketball being her favorites. But despite her restless and quirky personality, she also greatly enjoys and appreciates writing. Although most of her so-called good works are forced out of her through deadlines and peer pressure, she treads tediously yet tirelessly and enthusiastically to find joy in writing out of her own inspirations. Recently, she has come to discover her love for poetry. Interestingly, though her love and appreciation burn in her heart, her lack of inspiration depletes her fuel to keep the fire alive. However, the fire is still burning, isn't it? It is, and it will continue to burn, for Lin Lin will take it upon herself to learn poetry writing to the best of her abilities and be a creator of the content she loves. Being someone who writes out of her own real-life experiences, she finds it quite difficult to craft something elegant and wonderful out of her chaotic life. But with great difficulties come great solutions, and with great vivid language use comes great poems. Lin Lin is trying to catch up on her descriptions and understand more about the use and technique of vivid descriptions in poetry. Lo and behold, Lin Lin presents the first ever formal Chinese poem she has ever written, ever. Buckle up and brace yourself to be shocked or surprised. Her writings will surely knock your socks off. So Lin Lin's poem is titled Unbound, or in Chinese or Mandarin pronounced 无限的. So yeah, welcome.
无限的，小时候自己的命运被父母抓在爪里，父母的嘱咐，父亲的提醒，长大后当什么不好？学医、学金融、做律师，进入政府部门。世界无限大，明有宽阔的大海，却只能被关进鱼缸里。黎明近在咫尺，却依然山南海北，无暇地角。鹦鹉被关进笼子里，老虎被关在动物园里当猫养，海豚被关进马戏团里演戏。光亮的前途非被他人期望给限制吗？成功被选入哈佛、剑桥大学所定义，非被公众的评价、社会建立的刻板印象、竞争对手攀比的心态所衡量。无限的道路、无限的机会、无限的成就、无限的前途，都暗示着、示意着无限的选择。人生的道路不胜枚举，一马平川的草原上，并非只走一条路，一个世界，一个人， 无限条道路。世界上没有错误的选择，只有错过的机会。一个人能选择站在巨人的肩膀上看着望远方，或者永远被巨人遮挡着、限制着、阻止着。被命运选中是幸运的，但选择命运才是幸福的。
Thank you, Ling Lin. So for those of us who may not be as familiar with Chinese, it's a poem meditating on questions of pathways, what success looks like, what options and choices look like, how, there are different, options available, how these are unbound. So we do have our second place winner here, whose name is Alicia Tan. Alicia is P6, studying for PSLE this year. She wishes to win the book voucher, which all of you will be receiving, so that she can buy more books she enjoys reading on her own sweet time. So I would like to welcome Lin Lin and Alicia up to have a photo taken with our guest of honor, Gui Sui. Paging Dr. Gui. So that brings us to the end of our recitation and prize presentation today. I'd like to thank all of the finalists for sending in your poems. I know it's very hard when you write a poem about something that's very personal to you. There's a lot of fear when you're sharing it with people who don't really know you that well, or who might not be so familiar. And I think it's an act of courage, an act of bravery to be willing to send your poem off to a competition. And if you look at the room all around you, we're all here to celebrate all of you today. So congratulations again. So in closing, Poetry Festival Singapore 2024 ran from the 26th, and today is our final day. And we have additional events until the 1st of August. So do check out our exciting lineup of other events during the festival, including book launches, discussions, and readings, all of which promote the power of poetry. To view our full lineup and register for events, you can check out the PDX link, or, actually the link is not on the website, but you can check out www.pfs2024.ptix.com. The event would also not have been possible without our sponsors and partners, so we would like to thank the National Arts Council, the Arts House Limited, which is our lovely venue for today, One World International School, and Books Kinokuniya, who have kindly provided the book vouchers, for their unwavering support in making this festival a reality. Your contributions have helped to create a vibrant space for poetry to flourish in Singapore. Last of all, thank all of you for spending this hour with us. If you have a moment, so this QR code is not the PDX link, but it is a link to a survey. So do scan the QR code on screen to fill up a short post-event survey. Your feedback and support of Poetry Festival Singapore is deeply appreciated. It helps us to continue bringing poetry to all of you. And hopefully we'll see many of you back here next year with next year's competition, and that hopefully all of you will continue to keep writing, sharing your poems, reading them out, and doing your part to help poetry in Singapore in different languages flourish. Thank you very much.